Hello everybody and welcome back. Today I'll be going over another one of my random casual 60 card decks. And this one's whole concept is just playing with the rhinos. Had a lot of rhinos lying around, just kind of figured, maybe just throw them together and, play around with the little weird deck. And that being said, I'm just going to get right into this. Starting off, we have 4 Siege Rhinos. Which Siege Rhino is a 4/5 trample. When Siege Rhino enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. And after that, we have 4 copies of Mr. Orfeo the Boulder. He's a 2/4. When you attack, double target creature's power until end of turn. 3 copies of Rock's War Monk. They're just a 3/4 lifelink. That. Next up, we have 3 copies of Rune of the Hidden Realm. It's a 4/4 Vigilance Trample. You pay 2 colors and tap it to exile a target creature. Turn that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Just putting those right over its face, so hopefully I can actually get this thing to focus in. Next up, we have 2 copies of Gilrid Conclave Exile. It's a 2/5. Get rid of Conclave's Exile enters the battlefield. Create a 4/4 green rhino creature token with trample. Whenever Gilrid attacks, populate the token entering the battlefield, tapped and attacking. After that, we have 2 copies of Master Symmetist. So just whatever. It's a 4/4 reach. Whenever a creature you control with power equal to its toughness attacks, it gains trample until end turn. Next, we have a few singular ones here. We have Bribe Taker, a 6/6 trample. When Bribe Taker enters the battlefield, for each kind of counter on permanents you control, you may put your choice of a +1/+1 counter or a counter of that kind on Bribe Taker. And then next up we have Pari the Pulverizer. He's a 3/3. When he enters the battlefield, put a shield counter on target creature. Whenever Pari attacks, target creature you control gains trample and gets +X/+X until end turn, where X is the number of kinds of counters among permanents you control. And then lastly, for our creatures, we have Workshop War Chief. It's a 5/3 trample. When Workshop War Chief enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. When Workshop War Chief dies, create a 4/4 green rhino warrior creature token as blitz for 4 and 2 green. Down to our spells here. We have 4 copies of Font of Fertility. There's Font of Fertility. You pay 1 and a green, sacrifice Font of Fertility, search your library for a basic land card, put on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Next up, 4 copies of, I'm going to mispronounce this again probably, Kalni Heart Expedition. As landfall, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a quest counter on Kali Heart Expedition. Remove 3 counters from it and sacrifice it. Search your library for 2 basic land cards and put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Next up, we have 4 copies of Pull from Tomorrow. Quite simply, draw X cards, then discard a card. After that, we have 2 copies of Fight Rigging. Has Hideaway 5, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then if you control a creature with power 7 or greater, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Two copies of Mana Cannons. Now, whenever you cast a multicolor spell, Mana Cannons deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of colors that spell is. Now down to our last few spells here. We have Crash the Party. Create a tapped 4/4 green rhino warrior creature token for each tapped creature you control. Then we have Invasion of New Capenna. When Invasion of New Capenna enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice an artifact or creature. When you do, exile target artifact or creature and opponent controls. And that flips over to our little equipment here of Holy Frenzy Cannon. When equipped creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature and each other creature you control that shares a creature type with it. Equip cost of 1 colorless. And then we have Invasion of Urgamon. When Invasion of Urgamon enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Then you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. And its backside turns into the 3/4 Rhino Dater, Turga Cliff Charger. He's a 3/4 trample. Turga Cliff Charger enters the battlefield. You may discard a card. If you do, search your library for a land or battle card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Down to our lands, we have 1 mountain, 1 swamp, 1 plains, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 forests, 2 islands, 4 copies of Durga's Caldera. When Durga's Caldera enters the battlefield, sacrifice unless you return a non-layer land you control to the owner's hand. We tap for a black, red, or green. Then we have Domar's Cavern. Domar's Cavern enters the battlefield, sacrifice unless you return a non-layer land you control to the owner's hand. Maybe tap for a white, blue, or black. Then we have Dimir Aqueduct. Enters the battlefield tapped. Enters the battlefield, return a land you control to the owner's hand. And it can be tapped for a blue and a black. And with that, that brings our little Rhino funds here to an end. Hope y'all enjoyed checking out this deck with me. Thank y'all for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace.